stupid stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. I know that we got to get this going. So, give me a moment while I try to get myself ready. Maybe I am coming down with something. I don't know. All right. Do. Where am I at? Where am I at? There it is. Okay. In three, two, one.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Bleav in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Bleav in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, are my guys Jerraud Powers and Rodney McLeod. And today we are going to talk about the second game in a row where the Indianapolis Colts are on the wrong side of an NFL record. Uh, now, I'll tell you what, the first half of this game was absolutely astounding. You couldn't be more happier with how the defense and the offense with the Indianapolis Colts was playing in this game. It was just big play after big play after big play, and you thought that this was going to be an utter and complete blowout, 33 to nothing at halftime, while the Minnesota Vikings just seemed like they couldn't get anything on track, and then everything changed in the second half. Jerraud, what was your first initial thoughts watching this game?
Well, I didn't get to see the first half. I had to go back and kind of watch some clips. Me and the family, we had a dang national basketball tournament in dang Texas, so I was able to kind of see the collapse instead of the good part. But one thing I'll say about games like that, and I don't know if Rodney ever played in a game like that, but I have, to where you can jump out on a team and get a nice lead, and you going into half, and the thought process, like the feel of the game, it's almost, sometimes as a team, you almost feel like, oh, we got this under control. Things are going in our favor. The Vikings don't got a shot. Rather, on the flip side, the Vikings are going into the locker room, more urgency. Hey, we got to do this better, do that better, just trying to fix things. And then when you come out in the second half, you almost can see the two, I guess, just the difference in the two sides as far as mentality. From our standpoint, you don't want to blow the lead, but from the Viking standpoint, everything is upbeat now. Everything is just going with a little bit more urgency. They just looking for more plays. But I mean, it's the NFL, man. You're not going to find too many games to where you can just blow out a team 33-0. I mean, it just rarely happens in the NFL. And normally teams fight back to, I guess, to break that cushion, whether it's a 7-point game, 14-point game. But normally when teams have big leads in the first half, it always ends in like a one possession game, at the end of the game. And it's unfortunate, we was on the other side of that. And we still had our opportunities to kind of kill the game and take control and maintain control of the game. But I mean, got to tip your hats off to the Vikings. I mean, they do got the playmakers that can score points. They do got, quarterback that's playing good ball this year. Team overall, they got big aspirations as far as what they've done this season and what they want to do going forward. It's just I hate that we was on this side of the collapse, but hey, it happens. It's the NFL.
Yep. And speaking of the NFL, the regular season is beginning to wind down as we come down to the last 3 weeks of the NFL season, but basketball is back. And BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, game trends at BetOnline. As your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts. Well, Rodney, I'm curious. Jerraud was talking about how a team walks into halftime. What was the feeling like at halftime? What was the talk? What was the speech? What was going on in that situation?
The speech and mentality was don't let your foot off the gas. And I think we all felt, like we were in control of that game, but understood we still needed to come out with the same sense of urgency as we started this game, and have that same level of intensity. And knowing, defensively we were going to be up first, we responded well, in my opinion, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that opening possession of that second half does set the tone
Mm-hmm.
naturally for that half. And when you look at it, I mean, we had one negative play after another to start that second half off, as whereas like Jerraud said, they're now going to go up tempo. They did that. We responded and we answered the call. But as Jerraud knows, man, the quickest way for a team to close that deficit is to have explosives, right?
Big plays.
I
Yep.
mean, we know they're an explosive offense, but we are very good at eliminating explosives as a defense. We've been doing that an entire year, and particularly in that game, they weren't able to get much of anything. And so that is where it started for us, and being able to allow some of those big plays to happen early in the third quarter, and then also the one to end up tying the game. That came after the 4th and 1. So I feel like for us, as a team, we felt like we were going to go in there and really continue to do what we did in the first half. And that was said by players. That was also echoed by Jeff Saturday before we left out of that locker room. And I mean, for me as a player, I know how this game goes. I know that they're going to fight back. They're a good team. But never would I have thought that they would come back and, of course, end up on the winning side. And so that's the frustrating part. It really felt like a movie, to be honest. Something that you only see. What I'm saying? That's something that's just not real. And yeah, that was hard, man. It was embarrassing to kind of walk off that field and know that we were on the wrong part of history. But at the end of the day, man, it's nothing we could do about it now. We just got to learn from it, and we got to just, at the end of the day, put a complete game together. We talk about we need to start fast, and if finish, and that's just been the story for us, I think, this year.
And another thing that what you're fighting against when you're going against teams and you got a large deficit, like Rodney said, when you're giving up explosives, that means they're saving time on the clock for them
Yeah,
to have time to even come back. So a lot of times you want the offense to have to work for everything just because the clock is your enemy too at this moment. Like,
yeah,
it's not about them scoring, don't get me wrong, but if it's taking them 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes to score per possession, they're not even going to have that many opportunities to even come back, in the
correct.
game just because of the clock.
Yep.
So when Rodney mentions the explosives, that means the clock is on their side as well. And now, you can feel once they had a few touchdowns and the game started to get kind of within reach, the pressure the offense was feeling because they can't go 3 and out now. Now they're feeling like, man, we need to sustain some type of drive to keep this clock going. But when you go out there and then they're 3 and out or 4 plays and out, 5 plays and out, whatever the case may be, and the Minnesota offense get the ball again, and the defense is back out there, and you look at the clock and it's like, damn, it's still 10 minutes left, in this third quarter or whatever the case may be. So, you're going against not only, the urgency from the other side of the other team, but again, like I said, that clock, you're going against that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I going over the stats of the game, like the traditional stats. I'm looking at the Indianapolis Colts won the turnover battle
Mm-hmm.
on paper. They won the time of possession battle on paper, but they lost penalties. They had 11 penalties in this game. 6 of them were defensive penalties that gave up first downs to the other team. How big is that for in a game? And You talked about Rodney that and Jerraud that you, before games you get a scouting report on the referees. Did the penalty calls reflect that scouting report this week?
No, not in any way. I don't know if we happen to touch on the referees, the crew, I guess you would say, for this particular game. We
Mm.
normally do, but I don't remember. But yeah, penalties do hurt you as well. They extend drives, and there were a few that were, we could say are questionable, but it happened, and we allowed them to just continue to have an opportunity, right? To be able to close the lead. And so that's the frustrating part as well. It takes so much, I guess, for you to actually blow a 33-point lead. There's
Everything
it's
has
not
to go
just one
right for
thing.
the other
Yeah, there's
team.
not just
Yeah.
one thing, right? Like you could pinpoint so many areas of the game and why they were able to come back. Like Jerraud said, like the time, right? Understanding that we need to force them to, go down the drive and have to earn everything, um, like we did in that first half, and then we can't have penalties, right, that are going to uh, allow them to now be able to line up again and continue to try to come back. So a lot goes into it, man, and yeah, it's tough,
And
but
I was about to say, and when it comes to penalties, it's not just, any type of penalties. It's the big play penalties, the down the field DPIs, the personal fouls. Like those are the
yeah,
penalties that you can almost consider explosive plays. And that's what I
yeah,
mean by everything has to go right for a team to come back from 33 points to win a game. And some, like I said, some of those penalties contribute to some of the big plays that they were already having just an offense itself. So, as a coach or as a former player that, kind of studies the game and watch the game as a whole, I mean, you're adding that to explosive. So that's what I mean by everything has to go right to be in their favor to come back from that type of deficit.
So I want to ask both of you. I was going over. There was about 30 drives between both teams in this game. 30. There was only one drive the entire game that was over 3 minutes. Is now when you have a game where you're on the field, off the field, on the field, off the field that much, that quick. How does that affect you as a player, physically and mentally?
I don't know. I know my knees hurt. there was a there were a lot of plays in that game for sure. I think we pinpointed. We found that out yesterday. Uh,
Hmm.
Somebody threw out the number, but um, yeah, I think it's just the way the flow of the game goes. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
you just do what you need to do, man, to win. Can't really pay attention to whether that drive went 6 plays for the offense, three. I mean, sometimes you definitely feel it. Of course, on a sudden
Mhm.
change, if there's a turnover, you just experience a long drive. But outside of that, you're just playing ball.
And then at that same token, on the when you're the team that's up 33-0 as a secondary, you know what's coming. Like not specific play, but it's about to be up tempo. They're about to throw it a million times, and you can be in the best shape possible, but at some point your body's gonna fatigue
Yeah,
at the end of the day. So when Rodney say his knees hurt, I bet there's some other things that hurt as well, just because of all the running these guys have to do, man. Just when a team is playing up tempo and then you're throwing the ball, then you got to worry about where Cook is, where Thielen is, where is Jefferson is, all these weapons that they have. And when you're on the other side, when you're the Minnesota Vikings as an offense and you're a wide receiver, not saying you want to be down 33-0, but them knowing that they're about to throw the ball, I mean, they're all excited about those opportunities that are about to come. So it gets difficult at a certain point of the game, because as you can feel it from player to player, if a guy's starting to get, wore down a little bit, if a guy is starting to, you can see the breathing on the chest from the defense. You can just feel all those type of things. And like Rodney said, I mean, you just got to find or dig deep and just find some way, somehow, just to finish games. And I think that's been our problem all year. We haven't been starting fast, and then boom, when we start fast, we haven't found ways to finish some of the close games that we've been in, and that's kind of been the whole, the problem from game one until where we're at now.
Yeah. Last week, Jerraud, you and I talked about all the guys on the Vikings.
Hmm.
That big playmakers: Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Cook. Obviously, we forgot about overall their tight end,
Oh yeah.
Hawkinson, and then number 17, Osborne. What in the world? He had a career day. Was he on your guys' radar, Rodney?
Everybody's on our radar.
Well,
We
yeah,
understood that he has speed, and so he's a threat. But he was definitely more involved in their run game. He was at the point of attack for majority of that. But you know how it goes, man. And as Jerraud said, when you now gotta have to come back from a large deficit like they experienced, then the ball is going to be up, and they're going to be, it's nothing but pass concepts.
Hmm.
And he was a guy that Kirk found a few times, and he was able to make some good plays. I don't. It amazes me. I guess even when you're in the flow of the game, you don't realize, I guess, how many yards he actually had. Um, it still seems, like surreal. Like, how did he end up with, I guess, that many?
yeah.
But credit to them.
Yeah, absolutely. He actually, I'm sitting here looking at the stats right now, and it's funny because yes, he played amazing football, but it wasn't just him. Like I was saying, Cook had 190 total offensive yards, 95 through the air, 95 on the ground. He had two very, I would say, explosive screenplays, right? One of which went darn near the end. No, it did go the distance, didn't it?
Hmm.
It ended up in a touchdown. Um, how difficult is it to when you're in a zone like you got this massive lead, right? And you're trying to protect against these deep pass plays or high impact pass plays, and then a team just goes to like a screenplay where they're able to set up their blocks before the defenders are able to get there because you're playing back a little bit. Is that how do you
Man,
combat something like that?
say I remember playing against, like the Chargers back when they had like Phillip Rivers, and then you had, Vincent Jackson and Floyd and all these big time receivers, and then you look at the running back, and they had Turner and Sproles. And Sproles used to always be that type of guy in key situations of the game where Phillip is just been taking shot after shot after shot, and then boom, it's a little quick little screen pass here or there, and the defense is, gotten so soft up front just because, you're trying to defend everything else, and then boom, one missed tackle on Sproles, you just know he can take it to the house. Everybody in the league know how explosive Dalvin Cook is. He's the type of guy, if one person miss, that can be the fate of the defense. He can take it to the house. So it's not like, you go into these games and it's almost like, hey, did y'all know that Dalvin Cook, is a great receiver as well? Like, of course you do. But at that key moment of the game, whether Rodney feels it or the defense as a whole feel it, but when a team is stormed back and now it's a one score game, sometimes there's some pressure, going on, and you got guys out there that's not wanting to mess up, and guys out there that can feel the energy starting to shift. You're on the road, the crowd is now back into it. The offense has a certain bounce and energy to their step now, and then boom, they hit a screen pass, and we have a missed tackle or two, or however many it was, and it's off to the races. I mean, you're talking Dalvin Cook 4-2 guy, 4-3 guy. And he just adds to that weaponry that they have as far as just guys that's explosive and can take it to the house. And sometimes you just got to tip your cap to Minnesota with that play call, because I definitely wasn't expecting that screenplay right at that moment, but definitely wasn't expecting it to go to the house either. But those are the type of playmakers that they have.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like they do. I mean, they had three guys with over 100 yards from scrimmage. Speaking of the big playmakers, last week Jerraud and I were talking about guys that we feel like should be in the MVP conversation. Justin Jefferson's name came up.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts about Justin Jefferson, Rodney?
Yeah, he's a dynamic receiver. I mean, you throw it anywhere, he's gonna, he's likely to come down with it. That's what makes him, you know, uh, him a part of that conversation, right? And particularly when it comes to MVP or Offensive Player of the Year, the ball's going to him, and guys are doubling him, and he's still finding ways to come up with the football, and he's done it at different points of the game, right? Obviously he's he's been at the point of attack and shown that he's capable of helping them win games. He is the go-to guy for 8. When you have to have it, when you need it, throw it to 18. He's going to find a way. And Buffalo probably the catch of the year, that grab that he
Oh,
made, the
no
one-handed
question.
grab on 4th and 18. That explains it all. You just put that one clip on, and as a defender what you're up against. And so we knew that. We put our best guy against their best guy, obviously, in Gilly. And so I felt like we did keep him contained uh, for mass majority of that game, to be honest. But he's going to be around for a long time, man, and probably going to go down in history as one of the best to do it.
I
Yeah,
think I think they said that he's on pace to break the
all time.
all time single season yardage record by 6 yards. He's on pace, but man, you're right. It's just crazy how good some of these young receivers are coming to the league, and just going by storm. But that jerk route he did on Gilly, man. I thought Gilly had a pick, and he even got me
Yeah.
while I was watching. I was like, God, I was like, man, they come up with all
Got me too.
type of, new
Yeah,
type
man.
ways to
Games
run
change
routes. No question, man. I was like, because Gilly had that right read. I would have
on
done
the
the same
return.
thing. I was
Yeah, on the
looking,
pip.
I would have been looking for that pick right there, because you think that the route is finished, and boom, he pivot back out. I'm like, man, but no, he's a hell of a player, man.
See, it's funny because I was sitting there doing a live game reaction of that, and my co-host on that show was like, "What are you doing? You're so out!" And I'm like, he was trying to jump the route. He saw him run that shallow flat. He was running out of room and made that move back inside. He thought for sure he was cutting back in for that quick pass for a touchdown, and jumped the route. And Justin sold it beautifully. I
Yeah,
mean,
normally
sold that beautifully.
you're expecting that return route to happen. And so Gilly played for the second move, but
Yep,
he had
yep,
one more left.
yeah, one
And
more.
you just charge that to the game. And I know Gilly was
And
telling me, he's like, man, I thought I had that pick. And he was like, he hit me with one more move. Like,
and what's so crazy about it, I bet there's like reps on film from previous games to where he ran the route that Gilly thought was
of
coming,
course.
so those
Yeah.
Mhm.
guys game plan as well. That's why I was just like, man, I said, that is tough. Like, that is tough right there. So, because it's
Yeah.
three moves in one, it's flat, back
Mhm.
end, and he returns again. You're just like, man, what am I supposed to do?
it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
tough.
it's
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 tough.
moments like that where I'm like, man, I'm glad I ended up switching positions
Say-
to
say-
safety.
Speaking of
I'm
safety,
like,
we ran a
oh
lot of
man,
three. Blackman was in there a lot with. We had three safeties. Was Blackman playing a lot of corner in
he
this
plays
game?
nickel.
Yeah,
He played nickel for us now.
that's
Yeah,
what I
Kenny
thought. So
Moore, yeah,
yeah,
with him down.
with
Yeah,
him down. Yeah.
yeah.
What'd you think of uh the lineup, Jerraud, that we had in the secondary? I know you said you got to see the second half with with Blackman playing nickel and then our just the guys in general. What do you think of the of how they played on defense for the most part? I understand the Vikings have playmakers, but
Yeah, I mean, I thought, for the most part, like Rodney said, for the majority of the game, as a defense, we were doing what we were supposed to do, getting stops, getting turnovers, guys making plays and all that type of stuff. I mean, but I'm not going to sit here and just say that the secondary played bad in the second half or whatever the case may be, just as a whole, as a defense. I mean, you just hope that some way, somehow you can get stops in crucial moments to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit, and we didn't. And whether it was penalties, whether it was whatever the case may be, missed tackles or whatnot, I mean, it happens. I mean, we got a lot of young players that's playing some key positions right now. Rodney Thomas, I mean, he's growing. I mean, he's growing as he's going to end up being a hell of a player and a good player. And then like you said, Blackman and and all those guys, these are quality key reps that's going to help them become the players that they want to become. So everything's a learning experience, man. And I expect them guys to continue to get better with more reps that they get.
absolutely. All right. I think that's going to do it for our breakdown of the Colts Vikings game. Thanks so much again, Jerraud, Rodney, for taking time out to go over the game. We will be back tomorrow with our NFL look, going over the entire NFL. Make sure you go check that out. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Jerraud Powers, Rodney McLeod. And as usual, go Colts.
Do you Bleav?
You might check your mic settings to make sure your microphone is actually selected, Jerraud, because you kind of sound a little in like a can or something.
No, it's on there. When we first started, you sounded off as well.
Okay.
Yeah. For like, I remember like for like 15 seconds. But then it cleared up.
Yeah, then it cleared up.
Now I hear it. Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You didn't sound like the mic itself was selected. All right. So, anyone get to watch any games yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I got
I watched. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was about to say I got the game that I thought was interesting. Oh, the Raiders and Patriots. I saw the ending of that, which was crazy, and then the Buccaneers. It was a lot of deficits. The Colts wasn't the only team that gave up huge leads, so it was a lot of huge leads blown this past weekend.
I think there was a couple surprising games. I think, Jaguars and Cowboys.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah.
The Lions are on a run. The Raiders have won 3-4 straight ever since they lost to the Colts. They've been undefeated, ain't they?
Yeah, they're 6-8 right now.
Yeah, they're actually in the fold right now, and imagine that the way they started. Wow. But all right, I got last week's games up. The Browns. Oh my God, that was an ugly game. The game after the Colts, the Browns Ravens. All right. Is there a specific topic at this point? Yeah. Let's go with we talked about last week. We talked about the who might be MVP, and we didn't get your take on that, so we'll probably go with that. Who's like leading the MVP race right now? But then we'll talk about DPOY as well this time and see who we have as leading contender for Defensive Player of the Year for the NFL, if you don't mind.
All right.
Okay. I'm trying to get this out of my chest. And then I take a hit off a cigarette. Can't help it. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Bleav in Colts podcast.
What's going on, NFL fans? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, are my guys Jerraud Powers, Rodney McLeod, and, well, I mean, we had this past week of the NFL was crazy. And we can say that about every week, but there was a lot of big blown leads in this game. There was a lot of issues where fans and analysts are talking about the not the players play necessarily, the referees play, and how they are conducting games and the play calls that they're making. We're going to discuss that and much more here on this episode of Bleav in Colts. Jerraud, what was the biggest takeaway that you had this past weekend?
Me watching the Patriots Raiders game and thinking that the Patriots had the game in a bag, and them blowing a late lead and then ending it how they. And I don't think I've ever seen that before, where it's a tie game, guys are trying to lateral the ball back to try to go get a score, and then boom, you lateral it back to the wrong team. He stiff arms your quarterback and goes for about 40 yards for a game-winning touchdown, which you felt like the Raiders were done, when you were watching it and it was 6 games left. So I meant 6 minutes left in the clock. So I just thought that was interesting and kind of just sums up with how the season been going for the Patriots, and how a lot of teams has been, doing some unordinary, things this football season.
Absolutely. Rodney, he just got done talking about a play where something happens. It comes out of nowhere. It does not, catches you completely by surprise. You ever been part of a play where something like that has happened, where just something completely takes you by surprise and just comes out of left field and you didn't see something like that happen?
No, I haven't been a part of anything like that, to be honest. So I don't really have any memories, thank God, of anything like that.
Okay, good. Well, all right. There's a few games in this game or this past week that I think that deserve to be talked about. Obviously, we discussed, as you talked about, the Raiders come back against the Patriots. The Bengals put a thumping there on the Buccaneers, 34-23. What was your thoughts about that game and how that ends up? And what's going on with Buccaneers and Tom Brady?
I don't know. I think it's I don't want to say it's some division going in the locker room, but I mean, it's just some things that when you watch them play that you just don't understand why they keep losing games the way that they're losing it. I mean, they're up 17, at half, I believe, and normally if Tom Brady is leading your team and he has a halftime lead of 17 points, your chances of coming back winning that game is slim to none. And for the Bengals to, come back and win by a couple scores kind of lets you know, like, what in the world is going on. And I want to say in the second half, 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles by Tom Brady or something like that. That's just, we just not used to seeing Tom play, that style of football the way that he's been playing it. So Bengals are finding ways to win, man, and they're staying hot. Joe Burrow, is doing his thing, trying to up his odds and getting in that MVP race. And, I mean, you just got to tip your hat for them young guys over there, keep finding ways to win.
Absolutely. Here's a big thing. The Jaguars upended the Cowboys there was a bunch of overtime games, by the way, this week. Jaguars beat the Cowboys 40-34.
I want to say the Cowboys was up big at one point as well,
Wow.
and blows the lead. So
Scores.
Yeah, and then I mean, so we I definitely want to get a little bit focused in on the AFC here, because all the AFC South teams had very interesting games this week. When you're looking at the Jaguars, Cowboys, that was a high scoring game. The Texans took the Chiefs. They were never out of that game either. They lost by less than a touchdown. And then Tennessee Chargers, they lost by a field goal, in a 14-17 game. Very, very tight, all these games. And of course, the Indianapolis Colts lost by a field goal in overtime. But this is interesting football. This This is you're looking at this going from week to week to week. You don't really know who's the true dominant team out there, especially in the AFC. Is that right?
No, I think you're right. I mean, we've been talking about it all season. I remember like week 6, week 7, week 8, and it was just like everybody's like a game or two out from one another with leading their division or top seed here, top seed there, whatever the case may be. And it keeps proving us right that week to week, every team in the NFL can be beat, no matter if you're the Eagles that's having to find a way to beat Chicago Bears in a last second type situation, or you're the another team in a similar situation. I think everybody in the NFL can get beat week to week if you're not ready to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is playoff football, coming down to these last 4 weeks, and people are trying to make that push, make that run, solidify and secure a seat at the dance. And so that raises the level of competition, right, and creates a sense of urgency from the entire league. I feel like, and especially those teams who are even in the playoff picture currently, or those teams like a Jacksonville or like a Raiders who are sitting in the hunt, right, and kind of have to play it out, and really they're in playoff mode, as Jerraud knows. Like you get to that point where you got to draw that line in the sand, and we have no more room for error. Playoffs start now, and so let's win out and see how it goes. And you see teams gaining momentum, and you could see just a shift in energy and belief. And I think one team that you can point to is the Detroit Lions.
I was just about to say they might be the hottest team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
definite.
you start 1-6, and now you're 7-7. In the last stretch of the league. I mean, people can say what they want to say about Detroit, and everybody was making fun of them that first part of the season. But these guys have found themselves in position to make the playoffs, and that's what you want. As a player, is to be playing for something in December. You want to be playing where the games mean something in December, and they're here. And it's kind of cool to see that transformation from the start of the season, and see how they got better from week to week. And I got to tip my hat off to Jerraud Goff. Jerraud Goff has had a damn good year this year, and there's not too many people really talking about it.
No, they're not. I mean, Jerraud Goff is kind of in that same conversation of um, you know middling quarterbacks, right? Guys that you don't see as a franchise guy, but at the same time, not a terrible quarterback. But as you said, he's having a great year overall. It's just kind of funny how our perceptions of a person can be affected by history.
Yeah.
You got to remember, Goff made it. Him and his team has made it to a Super Bowl before.
Yep.
I mean, come
Yeah.
on, it's not like he's a bad quarterback, but it's just like Kirk Cousins. He's a good quarterback overall. It's just we take what he has done in the past and just kind of flat him out in a specific area with the rest of the quarterbacks that have been in that situation. I want to talk about two teams, the Jaguars and the Titans, who are on two completely different trajectories right now. The Titans have lost 4 straight, and the Jaguars have won the last 3 out of 4 games. Do you think that the Jaguars have a shot at taking this AFC South?
Yeah, I mean, week to week, yeah. I mean, they got just as good a shot as Tennessee trying to hold on to it. Like you said, you look at the trajectory, and we always thought Jacksonville had a talented young roster from the start of the season. We've been saying that that this is not the same old Jacksonville. Like, these guys can play, and it seems like they just stayed the course. Like, they had a rough part in the middle, but seemed like they stayed the course, and they're starting to see some of the benefits of it. I think Trevor Lawrence is starting to really establish himself as I'm not going to give him the I guess the title of saying one of the top quarterbacks, but one of the better quarterbacks with how he's been playing. I mean, he's been playing like you expected a top, pick in the draft to play, and got a lot of young guys that believe in him and a young core that believe in the coaching staff and the team and the way the Titans are going. I mean, right now they can't block a soul. Whatever their issues is up front, if they don't figure it out and not able to run the ball, I think at one point, I'm good friends with some of the Titans former players, and they were complaining that Derrick Henry only had like 15, 16 opportunities, to really do something. And we all know that if Derrick Henry is not the centerpiece of the offense, getting touch after touch, that they can't be that good on offense just because they don't have a true number one receiver, and you're not expecting Tannehill to go and light a defense up for 300 or 400 yards. I mean, they got to have that run game going, and until they figure out that O-line issue, man, they're gonna continue to struggle because that's how they've been making their money, is with the O-line and the running game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback play, probably AFC player of the month, just because of what he's been able to do. And I think, you got to credit the pieces that they surrounded him with, going out and getting a tight end like Evan Ingram, going out and getting Christian Kirk. Like, they all are they're very skilled in different ways, and it's effective. You have Christian Kirk, who's a great underneath route runner. Yeah. Then you have a Tay Jones who can stretch the field. You have Marvin Jones, who has experience that can, catch the ball across the middle, catch contested throws. And Evan Ingram can kind of do it all. And then you tie in ETN. I mean, when we played them, that was obvious to us. We're like, I mean, I don't know about any other like offenses, but Jacksonville, like,
got some
they
weapons.
could go. Yeah, they could go. And it's not the Jacksonville of old that you would expect. And now, the defense is playing well. I think Jenkins, man, he had an incredible day. Probably, I mean, that's like some unrealistic stats that he put out that you just fantasize about as a safety. 18 tackles, 2 INTs, 1 pick six. I mean, it was ridiculous. But to seal the game, to go against, the Cowboys, who, are arguably one of the better NFC teams, and to walk away with a win in that facet was huge for them. And I'm mad at myself for not picking Jaguars 2 weeks ago versus Titans, because I said it and then I backpedaled out of it. But I just had this feeling that, Jacksonville, the way that they look and how I view Tennessee, I felt like they were the better team at this point in time. So it's going to be interesting to see how it finishes out. Do they have enough? It's a huge game on Thursday night ahead with Jacksonville and the Jets. I told you the Jets. I didn't know. And this is their fate is like is at risk right now. Like their season stands on this game. Both teams really. So they're both fighting for their lives, man. It's probably going to be a hell of a game.
Absolutely. Now, last year, I was saying last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars had talent across the board. They just weren't playing as a unit, And then this year, it seemed like, as the year went on, the more and more they played as a unit, and that makes a lot of difference for games. And
the coaching staff as well. When you get Doug Peterson and Mike Caldwell at DC and guys that come from winning backgrounds, winning cultures. I mean, they know how to get a locker room right. They know how to get young players in order and playing the way that they should be playing. And like I said, when you got a young team, it's just a matter of time. As long as everybody's on the same page, it's just a matter of time until they break that that ice. And it's usually with reps. It's usually with the more play time, the more games and experience that they get, the more comfortable these guys are starting to become within themselves. So I think you're seeing a Jacksonville team with some young up and coming superstars who now believe that they belong in this league and they can have success in this league.
All right, so last week, Jerraud and I talked about our picks for who could be MVP. I think it was pretty well unanimous that we had Jalen Hurts and then Patrick
Pat,
Mahomes was
yeah.
right there. And then at the end of the show, we were talking about Justin Jefferson because he's, on track to get about 2,000 yards receiving, which no one's ever done before. Who would be your pick right now, Rodney?
I would have to say Jalen Hurts. Best team in the NFL, best quarterback in the league right now, can do it throwing the ball or on the ground. He just finds a way to get it done for his team. And I think he's demonstrated that countless times this season. And unfortunately, we've been on the clip, with the Colts and seeing how, man, we took away his throwing abilities, but one thing that he's also gifted at is being able to run the ball. Now it's come back to haunt them, in a very major way, right? With this now shoulder injury that he's dealing with, and praying that he's able to make a speedy recovery. But that is going to now kind of control the way that they use him moving forward, I would say. They have to be very mindful of that. But I think he's very deserving of the MVP. And I would be upset if he didn't win. He deserves it, man. I know him outside of the game and how hard he works, and to see it all on display this year is a pleasure to watch.
Now that we're all here together and but a couple defensive guys sitting here talking football, I want to go, who is your pick for defensive player of the year so far this season, Jerraud?
I would probably have to go with Micah Parsons. Just from start to finish, the playmaking ability, the game changing type plays that he make. Last year he had he's been consistent. It's not like it's been a drop off since he's been in the league. It seems like he just continues to get better year after year. But I think it's just more so his game changing ability to especially step up in the big games and be the game record that he is. If I had to put somebody at the forefront from the defensive perspective, it'll probably be Micah Parsons as of now.
Rodney?
Yeah, I would say Parsons is definitely in that conversation because of, as you said, is his playmaking ability. Whenever Dallas needs a play, like, he's in the frame, and so it's his motor is ridiculous. He's skilled to rush the passer, drop back in coverage. He might get a pass breakup on the tight end, man. Like, he can pretty much do it all. But I would also say Bosa, San Fran, too. And
yep.
Being able to be a part of the number one defense in probably every statistical category, and knowing that how dominant he is up front for that group. I think he might be one or two sack leaders. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to. They're probably 1A and 1B right now, so. That's probably my my vote.
Especially, I like both.
Yeah, Bosa can pass rush and run a game. He controls that line of scrimmage well.
Unblockable.
Yeah. I agree with both of your guys' picks. I like both of them. My pick is Bosa right now, but I do want to drop a name in there. That we talk, San Francisco's got a really good defense. They got some players around there that are very, very good. And, the Cowboys, they got a couple guys over there that are, like Tank Johnson and stuff like that as well. Or Tank Lawrence, sorry, not Johnson.
We're going back.
Two completely different people.
Say, Tank Johnson, that was a while ago.
Yeah, my age. I want to talk. I do want to throw a hat in. Keep an eye on Matt Judon.
That guy having a hell of a year. All pro year type. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. He's mean. He's mean, man.
Been watching him. There's games where he completely takes over that game. Where the offense can do nothing. We all remember the Colts and Patriots game, and he was in the backfield 90% of the time. So he is a guy where where there's a lot of situations where you always have to have your eyes over there. Where is number 9, right?
Yeah, find the
So,
red sleeves, man. Find the red sleeves.
absolutely,
True.
absolutely. All right, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Bleav in Colts as we went over week 16 of the NFL season. I'm Lawrence Owen. That is Jerraud Powers and Rodney McLeod. This was Bleav in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online, and as usual, go Colts.
Do you believe?
Oh boy, we got a Monday night football game to go over. To preview. Make sure everybody's got their drinks or whatever they need to get done before we get started.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Rodney, you set or?
Yep, I'm good. Just got to be out of here by 10.
I got you. I'm keeping an eye.
Yep.
We'll do this as quick. We'll make this we'll get you out by 58.
All right.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Bleav in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Bleav in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guys, Jerraud Powers and Rodney McLeod. And today, we're going to be going over a lot of stuff. But mostly, we're going to be talking about Monday Night Football. The Indianapolis Colts, ooh boy, are going to be hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. Jerraud, what's your initial thoughts about this game upcoming?
I mean, every week's a tough week. I mean, obviously, when you look at the Chargers, I don't think they're having the season that they expected to have, but been playing better football here late. Got an up and coming, superstar in Herbert. Big time arm, can throw it all over the field, can make every throw in the book. Probably going to make some throws that we probably haven't seen because every week he does something with the football that you're just like, it's only one other quarterback in this league that can throw it like that, and that's Pat Mahomes. And then you look at the running back, Eckler is one of the better running backs in the league. He's been banged up earlier in the year, but seems like he's getting his groove back going. And, Keenan Allen been in and out of the late lineup here of late. And, as just like their other players, seem like, he's getting back healthy and into the rhythm as they're trying to fight for playoff aspirations as well. So, I mean, it's going to be another difficult challenge. Is going to be another difficult game. Rodney and the boys are going to have their hands full. They got weapons all over the field. Should be another fun one. Should be another fun one to watch. And hopefully, we can jump out on them just like we jump out on Minnesota, but finish it this time.
Your thoughts, Rodney?
Yeah, man, dynamic, very skilled offense. And, it starts with 10. Justin Herbert, young phenom, is making his presence felt in this league early on in his career. And as Jerraud said, man, he can throw the ball the distance. He can, throw the ball on the dime and the outcut. He makes some very great throws. And so, it's going to be a great challenge for us, knowing they have a good skill group. Keenan Allen, probably one of the better route runners in the league for, some years now. Had the opportunity to go against him a few times. So know what I'm up against with him. And then you got Mike Williams, who's just a huge target. And, he was the reason why, they had the chance to win the game last week. I just watched film this morning and saw the way that game ended. It was a throw that you wouldn't expect a quarterback to make, but he believes in 81 and he puts it in a great position. Defenders right on him, throws it away from leverage on the sideline and sets them up for the field goal to win the game versus Tennessee. So, man, we know what we're up against. Even looking at the schedule, you just look like, yeah, it doesn't get any easier as a defender, man, especially as a defensive back. Like, you got to bring your best every week. We understand that. The lights are going to be bright Monday night. So, we got to go out there and take care of business, in our home stadium, something that, I'm sad that we haven't been able to do a lot of is really defend our home the way that we should. And so, we got to make sure we do that come Monday night. And as Jerraud said, man, start the way that we did last week. Had that level of intensity, create turnovers, but more importantly, man, close this game out the way that we know, we should, and really gain the respect back. I think that's the biggest thing is gain that respect back from, the league, and from viewers as well, everybody watching.
Absolutely. Now, yeah, after the game that we had last week, last couple weeks, it would be very nice to be able to sit back after a game and just go, yeah,
Nice
we
Christmas
won.
gift.
Yes,
nice Christmas gift. I need
absolutely.
that. Like,
I
come
mean,
on.
it'll be the day after Christmas, but that
Yeah, but
that'd
it
be,
still counts. It
Yeah,
still
it
counts.
still
And
counts.
and I need a pick. That's what I need. I'm close. I'm like, come on.
Oh yeah. Oh well, Rodney Thomas almost had himself 2 picks
Yeah,
last
2,
week.
man.
Yeah, because he had that one in the back of the end zone, came off the tip of his
Yeah, I
fingers.
told him. I said, man, I said, bro, you owe me. Come on, man. I know. I got you this half. And then
I had an
there it
old
is.
coach. I had an old coach tell me, if you just catch the ones they throw to you, say you'll be a Pro
Yeah.
Bowl every year. But Rodney, man, you're definitely gonna get some opportunities. I mean, you already know they're gonna throw it 50 times, so you definitely go get your opportunities.
It don't matter. They don't got to be down 30 to do that.
No, and yeah, you're right. And Herbert's not afraid to go deep to his
No.
guys either. So, last year, watching Justin, I was like, this guy is a different person when pressure's on.
Yeah.
Like completely different. Like first and second down, he may or may not make the play. If it's fourth down and it's like 4th and 15 and the coach is putting him out there to make a play, he makes that damn play no matter what. And I'm like, how does this dude do? I mean, that's unreal. The kind of
confidence that he has.
exactly, especially at his young age.
Yeah,
He's a hell of a talent.
You can't coach. You can't coach that. That just comes from within, and really just belief. He had confidence in himself and his abilities and his players that he has around him, and you see that on full display from him. But yeah, you don't really expect that, from a young player so early, been able to do the things that he's able to accomplish thus far.
I mean, what's crazy about Justin Herbert's, career so far is we weren't even supposed to see, his ability the way that we're seeing it, right now. I mean, if the situation didn't happen with Tyrod Taylor and the doctors,
That's true.
that they were planning on letting him sit, and kind of just learn and observe. And then boom, he got through in the fire and people were like, what in the world? Like how is this?
That.
Yeah, like this guy is unbelievable. So for him to get thrown in the fire last year, I'm guessing, it sped his process up as far as learning the position, learning defenses, and all those type things, to where when you're in the moment, he probably didn't have nothing to rely on, but I know I got a strong arm and I can make every throw. Like, I don't care what defense you in, and so until I figure out that part, I'm going to just, rely on my arm talent. But now you see his evolution, starting to grow as a quarterback, with him dissecting the defense, knowing, where to go with the ball. And of course, like you said, Rodney, he got weapons around him, man. If those guys are able to stay healthy for an entire year, there's no telling what type of numbers Justin can put up, because I think the entire wide receiver core only played a full healthy group, a few times this season. I know Keenan's missed a lot of time, Williams missed a lot of time, and Eckler's missed a lot of time. So, he's really had to rely on just his God-given talent to kind of get him through some of the adversity he's faced so far in his young career.
Yeah, and they still right now sit at the, I think, 6th seed in the AFC. So.
Yeah. Speaking of Eckler, I kind of see him very similar as I did, the running back we just faced off against Cook, kind of very similar skill sets from what I'm seeing, with not only his ability to run the ball inside and out, but also come out of the backfield and make some big splash plays at times and be a safety blanket for Herbert when he needs to be as well. Guys, how do you I don't know. How does the defense kind of close in on a running back like Austin Eckler?
Yeah, I think Eckler, I had a pleasure of playing him last year when I was in Philly. And one thing notice is just his strength. Like he's strong, small running back, but packs a good punch, and does a good job at being able to lower his shoulder. Also, catch out the backfield as you said. So I don't know if he has the long speed like a Davin Cook, but he's an explosive runner who can. Do it all, can affect you, can hurt you in running the ball, but also have the ability to catch out the backfield. They looking at film, they line up in some 2 running back sets, and they like both backs that they have. So 30 is going to grab our attention for sure. But yeah, he's another weapon that they utilize often in our offense.
A tough runner as well. Can break tackles, run hard. He ain't gonna
Yeah,
run out of bounds on the sideline. He's gonna lower that shoulder. So, yeah,
yeah.
definitely can see some of the similar traits that him and Dalvin has. But like Rodney said, I think Dalvin's speed. I mean, that's just a different. That's that stuff that God gives you to where you ain't even got to work on it. And I think Dalvin's fast soon as he steps his foot on the ground when he wakes up every morning. So.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah. I guess so, but I usage wise, I see the usage very similar. Between the two players. Obviously, I agree. Dalvin's got that quickness to be able to get downfield very very fast. Um, who's the more dangerous receiver on this team? Is it Keenan? Is it Williams? That's my question.
That's a good
And
question.
it all depends on the situation. Mike he's going to be at the point of attack on, more than likely all deep throws, because of his size and catch radius. And I think Keenan Allen, where he is in his career, but he's always been a good intermediate route runner, right? Just controlling the inside. You see him in the slot a lot more now. Like I said, because of his shiftiness, but also he's smart. He's seen a lot, and so he's a good outlet for Herbert. With anything kind of in the middle of the field, and Mike normally does a good job at being a great deep threat. So it's just how they utilize them. They both show up, and both are effective.
I think they definitely complement each other well, and I'm excited to see them just stay healthy and what they can do on the field because you almost got to pick your poison as a defense. Like you said, Mike, down the field, it don't matter if he's covered or not. He's going to have an opportunity to catch the ball because of his radius and things of that nature. And then when you're talking about Keenan, he knows how to separate. He knows how to get open. I mean, his route running ability and the uniqueness with how he runs his routes. It's almost like I don't want to say unorthodox, but he don't run an outcut like everybody else in the league. He's going to put some sauce on it. It's going to be some type of different, step or different angle that you haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen. So he's good with separating. And like Rodney said, the intermediate routes, he's great at finding ways to get open with his route running ability. So, as a defense, you almost got to pick your poison and, just, put guys in position and hopefully just, hope they win their matchups.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to go flip to the other side of the ball. I did not. I completely forgot Khalil Mack was on this team. And Kyle Van Noy. I'm like, what? What? Now
They
that's just
they loaded up.
They're loaded on
right.
defense, secondary too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, I think Derwin's hurt, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, but they still got
No, Jason
Asante
actually
Samuel.
got hurt too.
You
Yeah,
know, yeah,
Samuel. Yep.
yeah, and then Bosa I think is hurt. I think he's done, isn't he?
Yeah, I was saying JC Jackson, he got hurt as well.
Yeah,
Like that's
Jason.
Yeah,
another
Yeah.
addition that they had, but yeah, he's hurt.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They got a lot of injuries over there, so they went out and got extra people. But um, man, what do you think about? obviously, I mean, with the guys that are missing, that's a big hit on a defense. And you talk about next man up, but what are your thoughts about some specific guys like, let's say, Kyle Van Noy or Khalil Mack or Asante Samuel Jr.?
I'm a big fan of Asante Samuel Jr. I mean, he just got a knack for being around the ball like his dad. I mean, you see him play and his ball skills and the way that the style that he plays. You know, he's an aggressive style corner that's not afraid to gamble in certain situations to see if he can get that ball. Just like there's a lot of young receivers coming into the league and having success early. I mean, it's a lot of big time corners that's coming into the league that's young and establishing themselves early as, one of the better players in the secondary or in the league. So I'm a big fan of Asante Samuel Jr. for sure.
Rodney, anyone you want to talk about on this defense that kind of stands out to you?
No, I mean, I think we all know Khalil Mack's body of work and resume speaks for himself. So, you know, you would, as any offensive coordinator, O-line coach, you're gonna know where 5-2 is at. Van Noy, he's also a good rusher as well. I remember him being in from the Patriots and Dolphins and seeing him. So definitely respect his game and Samuel. I have caught Chargers games. He shows up in the secondary as a guy who, one, is fast. I think I seen him make an incredible interception on like a deep 7, and he came from like 15 yards back to grab it, and that just shows the playmaking ability that he had. And it's not a surprise and why that happens. You know who his dad is, and he taught him the game and taught him everything he knows. And so you're seeing, now it's his time and he's making the most of it this far in his young career.
Absolutely. I'm going to get off topic of the game right before we get into our predictions for the game. I'm going to go to a different topic, kind of put you guys a little bit on the spot here. I'm sorry about this, but we talk about this being an offense-driven league right now. Rules are all for the quarterback, all for the wide receivers. Is that disparaging to young people getting into football to come into a defensive secondary, to play defensive secondary, rather than say, oh well, I'll play wide receiver, or I'm going to try to play wide receiver instead because it's easier?
No, I think as the rules change, I mean, it's changing, at different levels as well. I mean, you watch college games and they're calling it the same way, as far as that, you don't have that type of, that much of room for error when it comes to playing in the secondary. So I think, as professionals, the reason why we call them professionals because they're able to adjust how the game's played and change things within their game, whether it's training in the off season, getting ready for the new style of play or whatnot. I remember when the leading with your head and the tackling stuff was a big deal. And you look across the league right now, everybody is tackling the way that the league wants them to tackle. For one, they're going to take your money if you're not going to do it. And then for two, when it comes to the secondary, a coach is not going to play you if you're out there getting PIs all the time. If you're not able to adjust how the game is being called and played, you can't really call yourself a true professional. I mean, these guys are professionals. I mean, they're the top of the top when it comes to, playing football. Like Rodney is 1% of the world that can do this job at a high level. So if he's not able to adjust, how the game is being called or whatever the case may be, he wouldn't be in the position that he's in. So, I mean, I think everybody's able to adjust, especially if you're coming into the league because, you're going to, you're going to play your game, how the game is being called.
Well, I was more talking like young, like just getting into like middle school, high school.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So,
Okay.
So the guys that are starting in middle school, high school, they're being taught how the game is being played today and not how the game is played 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
My son, if I'm fortunate to have a son, he's playing quarterback
my son's
That's
playing
where the
wide
money.
receiver.
That's where the money. That's where the money is. You good. You good at all fronts. You know what I'm saying? No matter if you start back up, you gonna
You
get
make a
paid.
lot.
Yeah, and now they're just gonna put the red. By the time my child's probably in the league of some sort, they're gonna have the red jersey on the quarterback
Where you can't touch him.
where
Yep.
you can't even. Yeah, it's getting to that point. They're gonna be able to play forever, man. Tom Brady, you're gonna see that every single year.
Oh my goodness. I
20
don't
plus
doubt.
years quarterback.
Right. All right. We got about a minute left before we're gonna jump out of here. So Jerraud, what's your pick and prediction for this game?
Chargers got a long flight. It's a long flight to Indy. And it's not like they're playing, the best ball that they could possibly play. Indy's had 2 collapses the last 2 weeks, and I feel like we figure it out this week. Definitely going to have to score some points. I do think that Chargers are capable of scoring some points. So I'm going to go Colts 33, Chargers 28.
Wow. 33's been a big number the last 2 weeks. I'm telling you.
Yep.
So now you're saying we're going to score 33. All right. I got the Indianapolis Colts beating the Los Angeles Chargers as well. I think the defense holds it down for most of the game. I think the Colts will be able to run the game even without Jonathan Taylor. I like what I'm seeing from Deion Jackson for the most part, and Moss. I think the Colts win this 23-17. I think the defense gets a score in as well, whether it's a fumble return, like strip sack, fumble return, or an interception. Rodney, it's your turn for a pick 6, my guy.
Man, I appreciate you. That's the gift we need.
All right, Rodney, you're predicting a win, right?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Get it
awesome.
done.
Of course.
By any means necessary.
Any means necessary. Absolutely. Just like what Jerraud said last week. I want to thank everybody for watching. Please check us out. I'm Lawrence Owen, Jerraud Powers, Rodney McLeod. This was Bleav in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And until next time, go Colts.
Do you believe?
Oh, it was 1 minute past. I'm sorry, Rodney.
No, you good.
Oh,
I'm going to
man.
catch you guys, man. Have a Merry Christmas.